Indies series against the West Indies at Sabina Park and Queen's Park Oval. 158 by Ganai really sent our hopes up high. Noriega 9 for 95, the Indian team they still survive. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Janjurani, Solka Abidali, Dilip Sadisai and Vishwanath. They make West Indies bowlers look like second raters when those fellows came out here to bat. West Indies tried holder and keep voice. They had no other choice. They even tried with Newton Dow, but a shot of the sorry they bring him now. It was Gavaskar, the real master. Just like a wall, we couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Desmond Lewis, also Charlie Davis, they take a little shame from out we face. But Sobers as a captain, he won plenty coaching before we cricket end up in a disgrace. Beatty here that he became a father, he catch out whole first in the cover. But when Sobers here, he too had a son, he made duck and went back in the pavilion. It was Gavaskar, the real master. Just like a wall, we couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all.
Good evening, listeners. Good evening to all our fans wherever you are. Those of you listening to us from New York, London, Chicago, our other fellow umpire who is now in Texas and is listening to us, tuning to us every day, and he will be calling in also. Those of you who are on your way home from work, in your taxis or your personal vehicles, wherever you are in traffic, good afternoon and welcome to the third Umpire Show. I want to say a special shout out to one of my neighbors in Laventil, Miriam, and her son, a miserable son, Kentish, who is usually listening to us on evenings. Good evening also to you all. And it is a pleasure to be on the show this evening. I am here at this time alone, but two other fellow umpires will be joining me shortly, and of course our umpire who is abroad, who is usually listening to us, will be joining us shortly also. As usual, the show we look at the batting and the bowling sides. They are they make up the government, in my opinion. That is the government and opposition. Um, we look at how they bat and they bowl, as we coined the show in a cricket format. Um, and we talk about all the issues surrounding um, current affairs in Trinidad and Tobago and also international affairs. So we look at the geopolitics, we look at what's happening outside of Trinidad and Tobago that will affect Trinidad and Tobago in some way or fashion. So, as usual, this is the show. You can call us, you can call me on the show at any time, join in, especially when I am here alone. It's nice, always nice to have our callers calling in and joining the show and giving their piece of the analysis and helping analyze the thing as it goes. One thing that I would want to probably start the show with, because I realize that I don't know how much attention it is given to it, but I saw a little boy in Tobago, a little child, I think it's a 2-year child. He was last seen with his pampers on and somewhere in Goodwood, Tobago, near the coastline. And he was with his parent, his mother, and I think his stepfather or her boyfriend or something like that. And the child disappeared. So there are multiple agencies right now searching, still combing the area. I don't know if they found him as yet, but they have been since this morning combing the area since he was lost. It was said that they would have sighted his body somewhere in the sea, and then it was also said that that was not his body; it was a log floating out in the ocean. Why this has become something that I would want to talk about is because the father of the child, who said that he's been kept out of the child's life for the last 2 years, he's questioning the accounts of what happened. I don't know what exactly he's questioning. I'll wait to hear what they have to say, but I know that there's a number of agencies, including the Coast Guard, the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment, and the police and the homicide unit of the police service and that kind of thing, looking for the child. And the loss of the child seems to be very questionable. So I await to hear what comes out of that. The only thing the child father had to say is that he's been kept out of the child life deliberately for the last 2 years or so, but that is all. So I don't know how that translates to him questioning the surrounding or what happened to the child. But the fact is, the child has been lost and is feared dead, because they have been searching the sea and the water is close by and that kind of thing, thinking that the child probably fell into the ocean and have been swept away. That is something I hope we pay very close attention to. It reminds me of a situation a couple of years ago, probably about 20-something years, the Kaylee Anthony story with the child that the mother would have, in this case, the mother would have killed the child. But I'm not saying that's what happened here, but it reminds me of that story because it has all the features of what would have happened then, and that is something that we should pay very close attention to. So many events these days involving little children, and that is unfortunate. Right? So we don't know if it is a case of just negligence or if it is a case of the child just wandering off and being swept away in the sea or whatever. But it's something that we should pay very particular attention to. And the father, being the father of the child, he has said that he's questioning something. I'm not too sure what he's questioning, but what he's definitely saying is that he has been kept out of the child's life for the past 2 years, and I'm hearing a lot of that these days, right? So that being said, if only to add, there seems to be still a lot of activities or a lot of situation where Simoya, what happened to your foot? No, I just know what I just noticed here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So good evening. Simoya has just joined us.
Good
On
evening.
set, and Simoya, it is nice to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I was just talking about a little boy that
Yes.
got lost. We're not too sure if
Well,
he
we don't
drowned
know
or
what's happening
we're
with
not
him.
too sure what's happening.
Yeah.
But it is something that is
It's quite concerning.
it is quite concerning, and it is attracting the attention of at least about 4 different units
Different groups,
of government that deals with search and rescue and that kind of thing. That is important, but one of the things that keep popping up again is crime, and I'm seeing that home invasion
Ha!
is now becoming very, very,
very
very, very
serious.
prevalent, right? Sometimes when you hear about it every day, I mean, it's one thing to hear about murders and people killing people that maybe have been involved in something, or maybe resemble somebody who involved in something, or the murders. But now you're hearing home invasion, innocent
Thank you.
people, homes are being broken into, and and not only broken into, but violent entry and exit.
Of course.
And that, to me, is something very, very, very serious. That is something that we have to take very serious. And I know that the government would have passed the home invasion legislation law
Yeah.
that allows for you to stand your ground and that kind of thing. But the other element of that, which would have created probably a natural deterrent to persons wanting to come into your homes, is the availability or the access to firearms.
Firearm, but Stephen, and as we said, probably some shows earlier, that firearm is not accessible to the basic man.
Well,
How are you acquiring a firearm as a regular citizen?
Well, we talk about this all the time, and you hear stories. I don't know for a fact, but you
Yeah.
hear stories about people who pay $60,000 to get one, but the normal man had to pay.
That's the point.
You know?
That's the point. And it's not that the business people can't, and that's great that they are able to protect themselves. But for the normal person who's renting, for example, the blink, I don't know if they still have blink vigilance or whatever it is, can they even afford to put in a security camera system or something like that?
Correct.
In a renting, remember, people are renting. So that changes the dynamics of how much they can do to secure themselves.
Exactly. And that is, so that home, it kind of almost brings that home invasion legislation null and void.
Yep.
Because you still cannot, in any significant way, a man coming in your house with a gun or something looking like one, but you have a kitchen knife.
Thank you. What you gonna do with that?
What you going to do with that? You're going to say, hey, stick him up. stop by the door. Don't come further.
Don't come closer.
What you going to say? So the thing is, we had to think through that.
Absolutely.
And we can't put the cart before the horse. We have to do it together.
What about
So-
the possibility of revisiting that Zoso? What are your thoughts? Is that even something that we could consider? Revisiting that Zoso bill?
Well, yesterday we spoke a lot about both government and opposition coming together to fight a common enemy. And that common enemy is crime.
Absolutely.
And if you were to analyze it, I mean, I look at it and I think there were some very good elements of it. And I thought that there were some things that would have probably move us away from that state of emergency kind of label, and target the areas where, or the places, or the persons who really need targeting. And that Zoso was going to somewhat do that. It wasn't going to take away any rights from anybody in any in any way, but any more than it is than the state of emergency is doing. But you're right. Maybe we should revisit it. And now that we are seeing the effects of what the state of emergency cannot protect us from, and look at it again. But I don't know. It will take a lot from the opposition and the Senate and everybody to, or maybe even the government, to amend some things that would make the law more palatable for everyone to accept. But at the end of the day, as I always say, the government is the government, the person in charge, and they have to do something to arrest this situation. Right? And my biggest, my most potent argument is that we need to all see this as very important. All citizens and all members of parliament, all 41 of them, have to see this as very important, because at some point in time it will reach home.
Well, as you say that, I'm not sure if you saw, but there was some type of announcement in Parliament that over the weekend that we had the visitor from India recently, there was some sort of national security issue, and the minister was saying that the police commissioner gave him the authorization to just mention that the security of the MPs are going to be beefed up because apparently some threats were made. So it's already reaching home. Right? The only difference is that they could afford to beef up their security. Who does the normal man on the street have?
That's a good question.
So, I mean, to me, I just feel like making that statement is a little tone deaf. For me. Or they could have keep that all itself. Because then you it's like a kind of rage baiting in my view. Okay, so all again, security. What happened to us on the street who could be in a random car and get shot? You have nothing to do with what's going on with the person sitting next to you.
Well, you see.
Just saying.
You see that argument, while is something that you really need to look at. If we start looking at things like that, we will have to get a police for every citizen. Or two.
And that is the most viable answer. So we might
have to get 2 police officers for every citizen.
But I am saying, what was the benefit to the citizens about hearing that? Couldn't that be just left as normal? Because people get threats all the time. I'm just saying, I think in a heightened situation like this where people are afraid to go out in public because it has reached a stage where innocent people are being caught in the drama. Children are being killed because, the target is this man. Wherever we find this man, he getting it. And these basic citizens are feeling those pressures. So I'm just saying, it's a bit tone deaf to announce that you're going to beef up security because you all get a threat when, citizens are under threat every day. And we are taking risks to travel. They're robbing maxis. We saw that video recently where a maxi was robbed and all that. So I'm just, I feel the communication.
Taxi, maxi. Anyway, have people and we could have possibly have money or whatever.
Yeah.
They're getting it.
They're getting it right there. So, and we the citizens have no defense really.
That's really sad.
But what he came out with is a gun to track the speed, who driving fast, to catch people who speeding. In the midst of all of this, you're coming to tell us that we could catch, if you go over the speed limit, we have a gun to track that. Come on.
Well, speed kills too, eh?
And
people,
you have
a rise, just like you have a rise.
Climate.
Just like you have a rise in accidents, in murders and things, you have a rise in accident-related deaths and that kind of thing. And that
again,
too.
No problem with that. But
too.
I'm
We are able to walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. The timing, right? The communication needs some work about what to address and how to address things. Not to say that the whole traffic situation is not an issue, but the rest of the citizen wants to get a sense of what's being done to help the man on the street.
So there are so many layers, and we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
But there are so many layers of this whole situation that we have to address, right? And we say this all the time. I mean, if we're just trying to confront the thing as it happened, we wouldn't be able to solve it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We have to confront it from the germination stage, right? And the germination stage one is education. The germination stage one is the communities and the social services. The germination stage will be attitudes of people and how we see ourselves. I mean, Trinidad is a very selfish place, People in general. If you live in a neighborhood, nobody looking out for nobody. Everybody looking out for themselves in most cases. And we have to address all those things because all those things are what would lead to making crime and criminal activities very easy. And those are things it is very important that we address in society. So when I say we ought to be able to, when we spoke about the speed gun and thing. Oh, I see. That's how I run down real fast. When we spoke about the speed gun and thing, we have to be able to walk and chew gum. We have to be able to see all the elements, all the dimensions of what's happening and try to deal with it appropriately. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are counting down to the end of the first hour. And on the second side of the hour, we will continue this discussion and we will get into some more serious issues.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Peace of God be multiplied unto you in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is Redemption Hour, a gospel program where God will reveal His mind to you on how to live a fulfilled life and to please Him in all areas. Join Pastor Femi Afolabi, the National Overseer of Deeper Christian Life Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago, and other seasoned ministers for a time of divine encounter as they minister and pray for you every Saturday by 9 o'clock in the morning of this station, Street FM 91.9. Our church is Deeper Life Bible Church, number 1 Cochrane Street, opposite Tunapuna Police Station, Tunapuna. The times of our services are as follows: Sunday worship service, 9 a.m., Monday Bible study, 6 p.m., Thursday revival hour, 6 p.m. The redemption hour is a life-changing moment you cannot afford to miss. For special prayer or counseling, contact Pastor Femi Afolabi on 778-9933. God bless you as you listen to this program. Jesus is Lord.
Wrap up your Thursday the right way. Twister Thursdays. 2 twisters for just $54.95. Loaded, saucy, finger-licking good. 1 bite and it must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Is a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC, crunch twist, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make them like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, listeners, we are back. And before we left to pay some bills, we were talking about we were talking about crime and criminality and the kind of things that is happening out there, and how the kind of multi-layered approach that has to be taken to address this kind of situation, and what I wanted to see also, and when we talk about multi-layer approach, I saw again, and I give the Baton side some kudos for this. They've passed a legislation, and I'll tell you how important that is. This was passed in the lower house, a legislation to expunge the criminal records of persons who would have committed minor offenses, so that they can now live a normal life like everybody. Because trust me, a person who would have done some kind of crime in the past, for whatever reason, you don't necessarily live a normal life even after you do the time, right?
Correct.
It is very difficult for you to get a decent job, because in most cases you have to get a certificate of character, and that will show up on it, and that in many ways prohibits you from getting the kind of job that you probably could do and do well, and earn the kind of income that you need to earn to take care of yourself and your family. So if you have been behaving good and you done your time and you serve your time and that kind of thing, this piece of legislation allows for your records to be expunged and for you to live a normal life. And that is something, that is one of the approaches that I see as important to solving or to dealing with crime. What do you think?
Now, I really like
as
how
a human
you
source
started,
person.
I like how you started with that preamble, because we are facing some critical challenges with crime. And you know, sometimes when you look on the news, you will hear some of the persons within those depressed communities that they say there's no jobs.
Exactly.
You know, we're not getting opportunities. And, you know, my mind is going back to the first iteration of Columbia Orange when it was scrapped and so on. And people were saying, but there's nothing for our young people to do in the communities. And, you know, we're not getting jobs because of where we live. So I agree with that. I can't, however, deny that it's going to have some question marks. Because we have all sorts of people coming into the organization with different value systems and with different views on hard work, on work ethics, and on money. And while we want to give everybody a chance, we cannot operate as though there isn't a risk. So critical for the organization, in my view, would be putting things in place to save people from themselves. If, this is not a situation of judgment, because if they did expunge the records, you can't go back in time to see certain things. They wouldn't exist anymore. But it means that you'll have to police systems. From the time things start to look a little shady, you need to treat with it almost immediately. Have people who deal with certain things, like with, around the money, if you're doing cash sharing and so on, have security systems in place and have people accountable. I'm just saying.
Well, the thing is...
And it's not just for money. It also goes, if you're looking at probably a supermarket or things like that, for stock, for things to make sure you can check, and there's some measure of checks and balances to make sure that things are being done in a manner that nobody can be wrongfully accused. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the thing is, if you are expunging the records for someone, right, it will be creating a stigma for people knowing what that person would have done in the past. It's just as bad as not expunging the record, right? Yeah. So I'm agreeing with the government with the ability to expunge the records, and I am also saying that in itself is more weighty than not expunging the record and probably creating that stigma for people to be stigmatized in a certain kind of way in the workplace and made to feel uncomfortable, and it will also lead to the same thing that we have right now, right? That people can't get jobs because there was a jail or that kind of thing. And trust me, if you understand why people, they say you was just making a statement about people in certain depressed communities talking about they can't get jobs and that kind of thing. But one of the reasons why some of them can't get jobs is because it's a depressed community and they might have been maligned with some kind of criminal activity before. And as such, they don't know what to do and how to deal with certain things and to get a job and that kind of thing. And it is difficult to do so because they have that record. Right? Most jobs now are asking for most jobs now asking for certificate of character and all that kind of thing. So that to me is a good move because it will create another layer of employment for people, and it will create another layer of help for the police and everybody, because if people, and you know what Maslow hierarchy needs, if you are able to satisfy the basic needs, then you will go to the next level. And if you can't satisfy that need, then you'll have chaos, you'll have problems. And that could be one of the reasons why we have that pays, listen, that to a large extent is one of a percentage.
Correct. Very good.
A significant percentage of the reason why we have some crime. And so therefore the government is thinking in bringing those kind of legislation.
I still think apart from that, if there's some way that we can have some form of rehabilitation or something to usher them back into the regular corporate world or something like that.
You say Wayne Chance and Vision and a Mission. I don't know where that is right now.
It still exists, but I don't know if they have programs to bring people, probably bring them in for a one day or something, or to make the service available for people who want to get back into work, that they have people to talk to and guide them. This is how this world looks now. The world that you left when you went in jail, this is how we look at now, and this is how you can, readjust to get back into.
Well, nobody. The world left. Listen, the world is always there because revisitism is a serious thing.
No, so you see, I'm understanding that, but you see, they are still coming out into a system that they're not familiar with. You might have your phone and your whatever going on in there, but the expectations of working with people. Even if nobody knows what you did, you know what you did. And there's something called self-fulfilling prophecies. We learned that in sociology. That people behave a certain way because you assume I know. I just watching you, but you think, well, this man watching me so far. And just those little inner psychological things that's happening,
Correct.
it makes it difficult for them to cope with other people.
Correct,
So the
correct.
first sign of authority, somebody get you a little rough up, you feel it's disrespect. It's not that way. You're just not accustomed to being under certain controls.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If there's some kind of workshop or something to give them that guidance, this is how we operate out here now. It will give them that little confidence to say, okay, I have a little understanding. It's better to have them forearmed, so that when they come out, day by day, they can make it through. But I believe that mentorship or that guidance when they are coming back into the world of work, I think it helps.
But how will you do that if without creating stigma and stigmatization? How will you do that? Because if nobody knows you committed a crime 20
Right.
years ago, right? And you are back in the system and you're doing well or whatever.
Yeah.
Why would you need to do that? What are you talking about?
Because there are people who have difficulties coping. Now, this is not something for you to publicize. I think it can be offered as a workshop or something like that. You advertise that and let people come in. Let people, come in for free. Well, we come in on this day. They usually do walk-ins and stuff. If you feel like you need that kind of help, you haven't been in the workspace in a while, and it's open it for everybody. There are ways that you can structure it, but I'm still saying use your community center, have a day in the month or something where you have people, you haven't been in the workplace in a while. We have this session for all to attend. That could include people who were out of a job for different reasons. You stay home to be a stay-at-home mom. You don't have to stigmatize that way, but there are different reasons why people were out of the work system. And to me, when you do it that way, it makes it more all-inclusive. Nobody has to know that this is the reason why. You have just been out of the system because of some particular reason. And what we are trying to do is help you to reintegrate back into what the workplace looks like. I think that's what we have community centers for. Why not offer once a month or something like that? And people who get the information, they'll be able to say, boy, I went so and so. You don't have to, they ain't taking no picture or nothing. You could just come and hear what you have to say.
That is only one. That's
But
what the
it's a
government
start.
did. That's what the government did. Is only one initiative in terms of legislation in a myriad of ideas and initiatives that could also help solve some of the problems.
Right.
Because we have people who live places like on the Beatum and
Right.
certain parts of Lafontaine and thing will be afraid to put, because of stigmatization, would be afraid
To put their address.
put their address because they feel like they might have good ideas. They may be afraid to put their address because of where they live. And
Some people
thinking
just put
that
Port of Spain, they even put the full-
and that also maybe we should have some kind of affirmative action to be able to deal with
Can
issues
be
like that.
itemized, yeah.
Right? Good evening, caller.
Good evening. Good evening.
Caller, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Martinson. And
I'm not too sure. Caller, are you hearing us?
yes, I'm hearing you. Mr. Martinson and Mr. Simoya. Yes, I'm hearing you.
Faint. I'm hearing person faint.
I'm hearing
Caller,
you.
good evening.
Good evening. I'm hearing you. Yes, I agree to a large extent
We hear him
to what
very,
Ms.
very
Simoya been saying. And also what you said. I think that the legislation is very progressive. And within recent time, I think the government have passed or introduced in the parliament two progressive pieces of legislation that having to do with the parole and having to do with expunging the records. And it is not for serious offenses, but for minor offenses. If a person was charged for marijuana, I suspect, and marijuana is now legalized to a large extent, you can expunge that. You have other minor offenses. So I think that is progressive. And it is welcome. If you're talking about rehabilitation and reformation and giving people a chance to start their lives all over again, it is good. But I think for more serious offenses, it may not be available to those perpetrators. So it's positive. The parole system, I think it's it's also good. But again, in terms of how you're going to implement that, and I'm here the government talking about the recruitment of parole officers, and recruitment of parole officers, and people will be trained and whatnot. That may create some problem. I don't know to what extent they would have consulted with the Prison Officers Association or the prison service, because you have people in the prison service who are well qualified. You have people there with legal degrees, people who trained in social work and all that kind of sociology and all these things. When you bring them in there, you may create some problems there. It may affect motivation, people looking for avenues for promotion within the service. And you already have people there who understand the system, understand the penal system, understand, the role of the prison in society and all that. So that is a bit tricky. But I'm saying that they should consult with the Prison Officers Association and the prison administration before proceeding with this thing. So I agree with that. But coming back to the question of crime, I don't want to get into that, too much. Because I've spoken quite a lot on that before, and some people may believe it because I hanging down the government. No, I'm not doing that. I am concerned about my safety, my security, and the security of my people, my family, those people around me, and the country as a whole. Those who can afford to have security system within the communities and whatnot, they don't have much of a problem. Yes, we have it, but not as the ordinary man. And so I am saying that yes, you don't have this. So I want to say it again, because the opposition and most of the independents voted it down. But there are things that the government can do in the interim before probably they return to Parliament to make a second try or so. But the police seem to be very firm, very, very, very decisive, or probably, committed to what they're doing. And they believe that is the best thing that they're doing since sliced bread. And I'm saying that the same Zoso you took from Jamaica, they have told you, it is there, that you need to have mobile and foot patrols in those communities you identify as hotspots or high crime areas. The police need to have community engagement. They talk about targeted operations within those communities. You went some time ago to Londonville, where these people were where there was a home invasion. And the people down there tell you that they're not seeing the police. And they ask for police patrol. All over they're telling you about that. I don't know if you have a good flicker of partner. That is what they did in Jamaica. That is the best practice. And what I heard, I read in a newspaper article, I have it there, I never destroyed it or get rid of it. He said after the fact, he said that police in the patrols and police, but the fact remains that is after the fact, after the thing has happened. What they're telling you is that you must have patrols in the area. You must have engagement with the people. You go visit, as Rollock's been saying, working with the community police. You need to have that. They tell you that. So I don't know where they're going with that. And the thing they tell you, that when you put the police in the community, you leave them there, you sustain that. But when they go in the community after the fact, after a week, they go back in the station. So the police knows that. The bandit knows that. They know that they're only there for 2 weeks or a week, and they went back on their merry way in terms of destroying people. And that is what it is. So I want the government and also the police to take a look at that Zoso thing carefully. And I am not trying to set up anybody, But if I'm seeing something that is working and the police is not doing it to ensure my safety and the safety of other people, I must speak out about it. right? I must speak out about it. And the question of, I am saying the question of where you have state of emergency, you cannot be in a state of emergency in perpetuity. The fact it has psychological impact, even though you people are saying, look, we don't feel is everything normal and what, but just the idea that their rights are suspended and all that, and then you have the opposition riling up the people with respect to that. I don't think it augurs well for you as a government. So I am saying it's better to try something. It's there. That is what is in this also. You try and use that. And people will say, well, yes, you're making an effort. You went up in this place, Mova, and the people told you they had where they had this thing, I think it's either Mova or DB, and they told you that after the shooting and whatnot, that they're not seeing the police up there. And no patrol, no nothing. You know, everything is normal. Everything back as normal. So I don't know what they believe that nobody can say, and no town meetings. Go in those areas and get whole town meetings with the people to hear what they're saying. What they're saying. You don't have the answer for everything. And that is what is done internationally. You have to, if you go to America, any state where you have town meeting, I don't know, it's only after the fact you have town meeting, and that is it. I don't know if they have follow-ups and all that kind of thing. So they need to do much more with respect to this attempt or any effort to deal with crime. I just want to deal with one thing else again with respect to this crime business there. With respect to the last week Friday. Now you are quite aware of the Leviathan, Hobson Terry, and where the people would have reposed the rights and whatnot in the state with respect to their security, the maintenance of law and order. And when the state, so the fact remains that they are dependent on the state to protect them. And when the bandits start to attack those people who are charged with responsibility, the legislature or the executive, those people are charged with maintaining for the safety of the people. What would happen? Who could they rely on? So we're heading towards to Haiti. We're looking like Haiti because when they collapse the state, who's going to protect us? So I'm saying that we need to look at this thing very seriously with respect to the maintenance of the law and order and the safety and security of the people of this country and where we are going, and especially where we're looking to secure foreign investment in this country, right? So you have to take a serious look at this crime situation, otherwise it could collapse every effort, every attempt to deal with unemployment and the economic problems in this country. Take that seriously. Thank you.
Tourism, we keep forgetting tourism out of that equation. If we are not getting enough visitors to come in outside of Carnival because we're trying to attract other people to come in and do business with us, but the crime has to get under control for us to attract those foreign investors. It's impacting everything else. And if we are not getting the investments, we wouldn't afford to get the business activity happening that we need to elevate the country. So it's impacting everything.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not difficult to reach that stage like Haiti and even places like Honduras and those kind of places that were very, very, very crime-ridden not too long ago. Jamaica is somewhat solving this problem, but it's a serious thing. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Good afternoon, Mr. Matteson. Good afternoon, Simoya, and to your listeners. You see the immaturity of the politicians that we have, that will continue to stymie our progress or hold back our progress as a nation. And I just want to say one thing before I come off. You see this thing about these parliamentarians needing an extra degree of security? For the last couple months, I have been seeing them grabbing every statistic available to tell us that crime is down and that the nation is safer. But now the people who are already have the benefit of security needs beefed up security. I don't know when we will wake up in this country and see what is being done to us. I'm not listening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And that too, that too is that too is a concern.
It's a valid, and that's why I raise it. And it's not really about criticizing, because of course I agree with protecting the people that are representing us. I am looking at the degree of these home invasions, and basic people don't have that kind of support. If you see 5 to 7 people that coming towards your house, or they're breaking in your house with your tools, what are you going to do? I'm just saying. I am just saying.
Yeah.
If you haven't experienced home invasion, you wouldn't understand the gravity.
Yeah. And that to me is critical. It's critical. And the legislation that was passed, while it was progressive legislation, in my opinion, the one that was passed with respect to home invasion, there's another part of that. And if they didn't deal with that part of it, we will end up in the same position, right? Because it's like you put the cart before the horse, when really and truly it should have been the horse before the cart, right? So politicians have to think, and have to, because criminals are seeing all the loopholes, and they are getting through. And by the time you fix it, plenty people have gone through the shoot already. And that is, it's sad. Let me hear what KFC had to say. KFC, good evening.
Good afternoon, Mackerson and Simoya.
Good afternoon,
Simoya, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Leila, I got fair no money taking love to your children and them. But Mackerson, these politicians and them taking people out there for clown. So them want beef up security. Them have X amount of security. Who paid for that? Taxpayers about. We need securities out here, especially for the little children. I mean, the rural community with good gunmen running up and down the area 15 and they're shooting wild and killing children. They tap people in parliament, they live in them communities and they know what's going on. We in search come and say it and tell the nation. Everybody know what's going on in the ground. You know it's Harry, you know it's Paul, you know it's John. Get the police and the soldiers out there and go and arrest the criminals and them and protect the citizens. We not to come to vote to protect all there. Well, there was a sort of police wrong all there. Wrong the parliament, a waste of taxpayers' money. Nah, man, and the kind of nonsense and the kind of disrespect with in the parliament from them leaders and them, the health court of the land, who's saying ramen and who's saying this and who put allegation and two family allegedly get locked up for this and get locked up for that. So any normal man on the ground listening to them parliament station is, those people like me to have respect for them and I like to have respect for them and they got all they getting on and people in every nation. Nah, man. Them politicians taking this thing for a long, and people not concerned. So we not paying for that tax, we not paying for the beef of security for them, because nobody not threatening them. You know. That allegation, that the biggest, the parliament, they is the biggest jail in the Caribbean, because they will just go and put such allegation around the world. So the Attorney General now, when we decide over that, who was security and they go free loved ones and he let sure to die out there. All they don't have security already, man. All they want 10 and 15 security there and all that. I said, man, like when search, I see good in the parliament, you have about 50 security. Who paid for that? We not said over that, Mackerson. Bless.
All right. Thank you so much. So I believe in security and security for those who are in charge of running the country. That is important. If the opposition, I would like to hear what the opposition has to say about that, because they had a lot before also.
Absolutely.
The thing is, as we were saying, there are a number of things, and we have to think outside the box.
Yeah.
There are a number of things that has to happen. There are a number of things that has to be put in place that would assist in arresting the criminal, bringing it back down to boiling. Because right now we're really overheating.
Yeah, no.
Right? We're really overheating. And that piece of legislation that was passed recently, that is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Right? I we need more like that. Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening, Umpire. And to the beautiful lady here with you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
I heard you earlier on, you were talking about stigma and how some people may see other people because of a certain area they live. The person might be well qualified to get a particular job, but just because of the area they are coming from, they didn't get it.
Yes.
Now I could give you experience that I had as a contractor back in the days. I was asked to come in estimate buildings in our West. I know about 3 buildings, but it's like tongue level this like. I went, I look at the place, inside out and so on, a residential area, and the guy tell me when you're ready, do up your paperwork and thing and bring it to him and we could see if we could get the thing started. I went to him, I did the paperwork, he told what he said to me, don't forget to put your address. Now I am from one of these hotspot areas, and he told me the job was mine, because he liked our moving, he liked our talking, he liked my personality, everything, my humbleness, everything. He shouldn't see no reason why I shouldn't get it. But as custom, if work is going to be done, especially in a residential area, they want to inform the people who live there. So when we call the meeting with the residents, and the residents were glad to know that, the place was getting uplift and so on, the question was asked, where is the contractor from? And that was it.
Yeah, and that's a serious thing.
I told him, he told them where I was from, and umpire, about a month, me and you from Milano. But what happened? A guy that I know who lives in the particular area, I saw him after about a month, and I told him, I was supposed to come and do some work by you all and so on, and I never get a call back. You know what he told me? He said he was in a meeting, and when the gentleman told the residents where I was from, the residents replied, so wait now. Now we don't want a man here. We don't want a contractor here because he will bring rapists, thieves, murderers, and all of that in our community, and we don't want that here. Umpire and my queen, that was the end of the contract.
And you see that is real. That what you saying?
That was the end.
That what you saying is real, and that's unfortunate, but it's real. It's real.
It's real.
It's real.
You have bright, intelligent people. You see, there is a stigma in certain communities. You see when people laugh until then, beat up and steal up, and antennas go up, red light go up. But the whole community, Mr. Umpire, is not totally bad. There are some brilliant, bright people in these communities, and they go out to get these jobs. But the minute they see Pitom, Lavantil, Nova, all these places, that is it for you.
You know what is the principle or the concept of affirmative action?
I'm listening.
Well, it is where you have opportunities being given to everybody, or portioned out to even people in depressed communities or whatever, or even persons with disabilities or whatever. So you make it across the board equal for everyone to get through. And that's the concept of affirmative action. So, like for instance, in certain parts of the U.S., they have laws, affirmative action laws, where you must employ some people of African descent, you must employ some people of Asian or whatever, and you can't get away from that. And that is affirmative action. Do you think that affirmative action, maybe we should probably introduce some kind of, just like we introduced the legislation to allow for persons who would have committed minor offenses records to be expunged, so that they would have an opportunity to share in the national pie also. Just like that, to have some kind of legislation as it relates to affirmative action, so that everybody could share in the national economic pie. What do you think about that?
Of course, I totally agree. I totally agree with that, Frankfurt. Totally agree with that. Because you see, we are at disadvantage.
And this government might be the best government to do that. Because if the PNM do it, it will look like if the PNM trying to create avenues for what they would call PNM people to get through.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. I understand. I understand.
You understand the psychology of the thing? So it might be best for this government to do that.
Yeah, I totally understand.
I just say,
but it's sad
ideas to solve some of the problems. That might be a good idea to solve that kind of problem that you're talking about, where stigma and discrimination is critical.
I agree with you totally. And it's happened to some of my friends too, and I am talking about some good plumbers and electricians and stuff, you know. I mean, real professionals, you know. Then just look at one thing and then to tell you off the back foot, that is what needs to be done in two tools. It's fixable. But because of the stigma, boy, the stigma of where you're from, you know.
Some of the best artisan and that kind of thing come from these areas where you stigmatize and where you see as, and some of these areas are very, very good areas. I mean, you have no problem, you have no crime and that kind of thing. You have nice people living, nice houses, nice everything. And I could talk about where I live right now, because I am originally from the east, but I live in the Port of Spain area, and is where I live. I have no problem. It's very nice, very cool, no issues. But once people hear Mover and Laventille and that kind of thing, you have a problem with it.
So as I say, I hope something could be done. If you say this government is the best government to deal with it because of how it may look under PNM government, well, so be it. But a lot of us, you know, in these areas are suffering in the sense of getting good employment because of us where we are from, and that is real bad. That bad. But have a good evening.
Thank you for calling and thanks for your contribution.
Yes, sir.
So the idea is really to examine some of the areas, and this is a good time to do that, because we see the government is going in that direction. The baton, that is good baton in my opinion. But it's to examine some of the areas that we could fix to arrest crime, because it is not just about police boots on the ground and police arresting people and that kind of thing. You have to do some other things, and there are other social issues, and we talk about Maslow hierarchy and needs and that kind of thing. There are other issues that needs to be fulfilled and needs to be addressed to really deal with crime and criminality.
I mean, it's so multi-layered.
Because nobody wake up ready and want to do something just like that. I mean, it has some real demons walking outside there. But
and that's what our colleague the other day was talking about in terms of the different criminal mindsets. So, it is so layered. But the ones that we probably can get some controls on is in terms of basic provisions, finances, providing opportunities for them to work. But I am still saying, even when you provide opportunities for people to work, there's still a mindset that must be understood. there are a lot of people who have serious problems with authority, yeah?
Yeah.
And if we be honest, the workplace is not so forgiving. We have people in the workplace that talk to people how they want, and
You know, somebody talked about that yesterday.
It's a real situation.
Somebody said, talk about it. We, in some communities, they like to talk about disrespect.
Yes. There is a serious thing around disrespect.
We need to understand what, you had to tone down, you had to understand that you are not in a world by yourself.
That's correct.
And your reality is not my reality.
That's right.
So you wasn't brought up the way I was brought
not
up.
My emergency.
So how I was cultured, how I understand my tolerance for what you say and that kind of thing might be different from the tolerance of somebody else. And so we have to all understand that we have to be tolerant. And that's, as a matter of fact, that's one of our watchword. Discipline, tolerance, and production. If we really address those three things, discipline and tolerance in particular, right? Production is something we had to deal with in a different way. But discipline and tolerance, right? The lady that got charged and was made to pay by the magistrate $200
for the cigarette.
For the cigarette. A lot of people talk about the police could have paid, she did not arrest her and that kind of thing. But listen, it starts with the little things.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
It starts with the little things.
Why didn't pick
up the cigarette or whatever when they tell you to pick it up? Why didn't just pick it up?
Just pick it, because you know what? Bad man thing. You can't tell me nothing. And the disrespect towards our officers, some of them may deserve it a little bit. It doesn't matter. The point is, this is a person that is wearing this outfit and they are saying to you, this is what we have to do. Respect for authority is not happening.
Exactly.
And I would go as far as to say, sometimes within the homes, we have so many single parent homes, so many matrifocal homes, that these young men or people not accustomed to a man roughing them up.
Exactly.
I have been told, people or children who grew up with both parents having a mother and father in the home, and this is not to discredit the moms in any way, but having a man around to get a little rough up, you understand authority. Now, it has some mothers who don't play, they will slap you into next week, right? But they still...
You know one of them, though.
I reserve my comments. But I am saying I am my mother's child. I will do what I have to do. I am saying that children without discipline will come out and have no respect for the law.
Correct.
And so, if they have no respect at home, they don't have no respect for the law.
Some of them have no respect for the parents. The same parents will define it.
Thank you. They have no
respect.
They're not accustomed to somebody giving them instruction. So when they come to the workplace, you're coming to work whatever time you want. We'd say, listen, this is what you need to do. Or they can't tell me nothing. So then when we fire you, you're going and say, oh, it ain't no work for we. I am just saying this is a mentality that you have to break. And it is important to rehabilitate people who come out from different things. They come from jail, whatever the case may be. You want to be accepted.
Some employers might say, well, that's not for we to do, We looking for the brightest and the best. And that's not for we looking, we on productivity.
We on productivity. So that means there are people who will give you a chance, There are people who will give you a chance. But you have to come understanding that we are governed by a certain type of rules. You can't come to work with your hair looking a certain how. You can't come looking a certain how, because we do not want to be known as an organization that attracting elements. Let us be real. Sometimes young people don't have people to tell them the truth. And that is the problem. Nobody can tell you nothing. But we need to have those real conversations. It's not about counseling here. This is about telling you what you're coming out to meet. And it's either you adapt or you go back to what you know. But we are trying to save you from yourself. And so it means that you are going to have to adapt to rules that you didn't really find necessary before, but now it's flour more than water. You had to make money, or else you're going down a particular road. So
Some
if
of
you
them
have to
they
make honest
they don't
money,
get that at all,
you have to
they don't
operate within
understand
these confines. This is the way the workplace operates in 2026, and you have to get to the program.
Correct.
We're not babysitting here. So that's all I'm saying. That's what that workshop and that engagement is for.
Because the workplace is getting a lot more competitive.
Yes.
It is shrinking with AI.
Yes.
And everything. So for you to get the best worm, you add up your ante, you add up your game. You have to understand, hey, it's not no honky-dory thing. You had to come good.
It's real issues. I remember working with a young man from a depressed community. The guy was very, very quiet. He never used to talk to people at all, but he don't like being inside. So the GM at the time for the store used to let him go and just pack over. If you see how that man pack over the warehouse and neat, real neat, but his problem is to smoke. You can't smoke in a chlorine environment.
You can't smoke in a warehouse.
You can't smoke in a warehouse. You know, so those little things made him, after a while, we see 2-3 days he didn't come back to work and think, and we missed him because he wasn't a troublemaker. You could tell he was from that life. The next thing we heard, he got 9 shots. That was it. But had he been disciplined enough to say, okay, I know smoking is my habit
So
and
he's
thing,
no
but
more. He's no more.
He's
Somebody
no
send
more.
him home.
No, he didn't come back to work, and then he went back to that life, and now he's passed away, right? But I'm saying this was somebody with a lot of potential. I mean, and we took him in even though we knew where he was from and his background and whatever. We gave him an opportunity, and he worked well. But the issue was he didn't have the discipline to stop the smoking.
And that's where parenting.
Thank you.
As where parenting.
You don't have no
and that
man
kind of
to
thing.
rough you up and jack you up in a corner and say, listen,
And where
what going on
parenting
here?
comes in. To talk to you. Somebody, some elder in the community. Talk
That
to you and
hurt
let you know,
us.
listen.
It really hurt the staff when we found out he
mean,
passed.
Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad.
He was good. I mean, some people they don't like the inside office thing. He's not a man you could pull small talk with. Just tell him what to do, and he doing that. The man working by himself and perfect. But the discipline, the dedication to yourself to pull yourself out of poverty, that is what I'm saying. If you know you don't have certain things, your family don't have it, you have to get up and look for it.
Correct.
But your vice cannot be stronger than your will.
Exactly.
That's all we're saying.
That's it. So the thing is, when we look at crime and criminality in Trinidad and Tobago, we cannot just look at the obvious.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of people talking about the police and the police can't do magic. Right? The police can't stop nobody from shooting you.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
The police just
You have
like
to
you,
want
the
to come
human
out
beings
of
just
that.
like you. Right? But what could certainly happen is that the government of the day can do certain things to address this whole situation in a multifaceted way. Look at all the elements of crime, look at
Yes.
all the causes, look at the catalysts, and if we could do something to address every single layer of it, then the work of the police will become much easier.
Yep.
The work of
I
the
agree.
police will become much easier because really and truly, the I don't want to say the infantile mind. The normal mind will
Normal
just
mind.
see when things happen. Will just see the police. The police are doing what they're supposed to do.
Correct.
The police can't do magic.
And
You
that's
understand? They can't do magic. We have to fix the foundation, and the foundation is education. We have to address the education system. We are. I'm not senior on set. I don't know why.
Or the camera come on.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are a country with a little bit of people, and yeah, we are a country with a little bit of people. I'm not too sure what's going on here. And clearly, it is. If we think through the situation, we could get through this.
Absolutely. I think our ministers need to spend a little bit more time coming together, putting their heads together to work out the situation rather than insulting one another. Because now is not the time. It's not the time at all. I think this is a great opportunity for consultation on both sides. And we could look at the facts because now is not a situation where people just targeting the government alone, you know. They said MPs, right? All MPs have to get the security beefed up. So it's anybody at this point in time. I am saying now is the perfect opportunity to come together, to have your consultations, to see how we can get certain things going because crime doesn't just affect one group of people. Anybody's houses could be targeted. So we'd love to hear your thoughts while Matterson is working here. We'd love to hear your thoughts on some of these things. Feel free to call in, and we'd like to discuss with you. What do you think? How can we solve this particular situation? Voice of the people is the voice of God.
Yeah. So we were talking about the legislation that allows for the expungement of the records of persons who would have committed minor offences.
Yeah.
And, to some may think that's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some may say, well, they're allowing criminals to compete with normal people to get job, but they are human beings.
Of course.
And in most cases, those persons who would have committed crime when in the younger years might have been crime of some opportunity or some situation
At
that
the
they
point
might
in
have
time, that's
done
right.
something just for survival or whatever. And they have been outside on good behavior. They've done things that that shows them up as good citizens.
Yeah.
And there's
They're
no
willing to
reason.
change.
There's no reason why we should keep those persons in a place where you cannot rejoin
Correct.
and live as normal in society as any
Correct.
other normal person.
In fact, some weeks ago, I believe probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had the baptism of about 7 persons in one of those prisons. And at church, a minister went in there and they were sharing the gospel, and 7 people got saved. So what do you do with those people who making attempts to change their life? It doesn't have to be Christianity. Some people go to other religions and they are really trying to make positive changes. And they come out of jail. So they do, as you rightly said, they deserve an opportunity to prove I'm willing to change. I want to do something with my life. So why not? Why not? I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, so it is something that we talk about on this program all the time. And that is, we cannot see crime or the escalation of crime as just a situation for the police to solve. Right?
That's correct. That's correct.
To deal with this, there must be a multifaceted approach.
Yeah.
Now, we know that when we delve into the whole thing and when we look at the whole thing critically, you will understand that to a large extent you have a lot of policemen who are police officers that are in criminal activities, and to some extent they are facilitating the crime. Right? And when I say a lot, it's still it might still be a minority in the police service.
But it's still
I
there.
was talking up to a senior retired police officer sometime, and he was saying that to a large extent today in the police service, a good police officer is an endangered species, because he was saying that when police officers do bad things, they look at who's around or who's with them to see if they have the trust of those persons to either stay quiet or support them.
Yep.
And that too is a bad thing. So I don't know how the system will eradicate that kind of phenomena from the police service. We have the police complaints authority. I think they need to be given more teeth to be able to do certain things. Maybe we need to set up a special unit similar to that who can actually arrest police officers and investigate police officers in a different kind of way, similar to what they have as internal affairs and that kind of thing in the US. But that too is another area that has to be dealt with and will bring about the arresting of crime. But the biggest thing for me is trying to make it a small place. Very small place, and it's not too hard with systems to know everybody. It's not too difficult to know everybody. So what is so hard to introduce systems? And we talk about a lot about, as HR people, we talk about HRIS systems and that kind of thing, where you can actually track your employees and know everything. And I'm not saying to introduce something where you can track people. But at least know who you are. If we have everybody on a grid, we know not necessarily a grid, a camera or anything, but you know everybody, you have everybody DNA, you have everybody fingerprint, you have everybody you know where everybody working, you know who is not working, you know who need help, who need help, you know everything. You know, a man in a well-paying job will hardly commit the kind of crime you're thinking, unless certain crimes, right? But what I'm saying is, all these things to me is not too difficult to do, and it's not too expensive to explore.
Yeah.
So, but we need a certain kind of thinking.
We need a certain type of bravery as well. Because there has to be a reason why all these suggestions keep coming up all these years, and for some reason it's just not happening.
Well, right. So we talk about we talk about belly the cat, right?
So the willingness to belly cat is the problem.
Exactly. Somebody have to want to belly cat in Trinidad and Tobago.
But
Some
is belly
politicians,
cat risky?
It's risky. But some of them I see
If a man
risky.
would go and lose his life for belling the cat, then he can't just say go get bell.
No, well, this is what I'm saying. But collaboratively, both opposition and government couldn't do it. This is why I said that they have to come together.
Yeah.
If they come together, they could fix this. They could want to fix this, but clearly it might have somebody encroaching on somebody food or something like that, and people could die.
About to say that if there is no enemy within, the enemy without can do me no harm. If they don't have nothing on you, then they could do what they had to do free.
Correct.
But once people have something on you, you ought to hush him out.
Well, right, and that's the problem.
There we go.
Right? So clearly, we might have some problems.
Yep.
But all things being equal, everything we know, everything we see, and everything we talk about on this program, these things could happen if people have the will to do it.
Yeah. 100%.
Right? Because we are too small to be having this kind of problem. Way too small.
Way too small.
We are way too small. We are not even we're not even a small province.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? There's a few streets in some places. Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, we go into a break to pay some bills. When we come back, we will continue with this discussion. See you on the other side.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Wrap up your Thursday the right way. Twister Thursdays. 2 twisters for just $54.95. Loaded, saucy, finger licking good. One bite and you know it must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
Hi there, I'm Lester Sublal, inviting you to join me on the first, second, and third Saturday, 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the program Slow Gospel Music, and on the fourth and fifth Saturday from 8:30 p.m. for an extended version of Slow Gospel Music on Street 91.9 FM.
Is a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC, crunch twist, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make it like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, we are back. And we were talking about solutions to, it is now a kind of proverbial issue, solutions to the crime issue we have in Trinidad and Tobago. So you can certainly join us on 342-0081 if you were listening to our program just before the break. you can join us on 342-0081 or 466-5391. Call us. We'll be happy to entertain your presence on the show and hear what you have to say in relation to what we were talking about earlier on, just before the break. So we were saying that, as usual, we were saying that crime is to address crime or to address the prevalence of crime or criminality in Trinidad and Tobago, is that we need certainly to use a multifaceted approach, and that approach, Mr. Listen, let me see this. Let me check the screen here. Right, okay, that one better. Yeah. Right? So, Simoya, we were talking about, as you were saying before, we have companies with I leave it there. It could say there now. Right. Yeah. We were saying that there are companies with you are HR professional, and you understand the importance of HRIS systems in the workplace.
The tracking and so on.
How do you view, HRIS system on stills for Trinidad and Tobago?
Okay, so some type of mass surveillance. Is that it?
Yeah, well, not just surveillance.
All the data, all data.
No, well, the thing is, how I see this working out is if we have everything and everybody on a grid, and maybe we use something like a blockchain system where people can just nobody, no agency can just go in and get your information and take it and use it in any kind of way, right? Everybody have their controls. The police have the information that they could get. The attorney general have the information that he could get. The registrar of business have their information that they could tap into, but nobody have all the information, and nobody could utilize the information in ways that could cause you harm, right? And maybe there should be legislation to assist you, or data protection legislation to be able to protect you from that. But the ethos of the whole program or the ethos of the whole system will be to protect you, right? And will be to not just protect you, but to make things easier for people to survive and people to traverse and people to access these systems and government and that kind of thing. Everything, right? You want to get a birth certificate, right? You should be able to, just like you're paying your bill online, you should be able to, if you had to pay $25 for it, you pay $25 through your Visa card, and you get a downloaded copy. You could go and print any amount of it you want.
I think that some weeks ago some months ago Ronaldo was asking about how much of our freedom we'd be willing to give up for the good or the benefit of all. And I think that is one of those scenarios. That's where that comes in. It also reminded me of, I think I saw an episode of The Simpsons where they had like a kind of invisible dome over the city, and it had those controls to see where people were and all of. So it just sounding like that, but. My concern is maintenance. Even if that system is effective, the maintenance is where we fall short.
Yeah, that's the same thing in China and places.
Yeah, but it still causes us to be exposed, because based on our system, after 5 years, you'll have something running for 5 years. After 5 years, that's shut down. So what are you doing with other people's data? Is it going to
this is why I say this is why I use things like blockchain. Those kind of technology allows for
secure.
secure, very secure
I don't
systems.
know how I feel
And
about that, Steve.
Eh?
I just no, I get where you're going.
and that really will be a problem, and that may need a certain kind of
it
a
could be
certain
robust,
kind of
which is good.
It
and
will.
it can help with crime fighting measures. I don't know how to feel about it yet.
Well, remember when I raised this question sometime in 2013 in a meeting with Dr. Rowley, he said that is a good system, but he may not get the support of the opposition. At the time, he was in opposition. And when I didn't hear nothing about it when he got in office. The thing is, these are things that we could certainly explore, because these things, I mean, we're thinking about privacy and all that kind of thing. Right? What privacy you could be thinking about? If you're holding your man or whatever, somebody, the authorities don't know. What privacy you thinking about? Right? The thing is, nobody cares about that. But your man.
Well, you know what? It's worth exploring. Let me say it that way. It's worth exploring. It's worth having some kind of consultation, getting the research done and see where it's being
But
done.
Ronaldo did say something. Ronaldo did raise that question some months ago.
Yeah.
What are you willing to give up?
Give up.
Right? To how much of your freedom you're willing to give up to get to a place where you feel safe? And that might be something we may need to give up. I mean, let me bypass the US, let me bypass everything, let me go straight to China, right? And see how they do it.
Very good point.
With 1.3 billion people, 1.4 billion people, right? And they probably have the amount of, if they have a murder like what happened in Trinidad, I mean, that's a big thing in China. So if you want to save yourself and you want to, maybe these are the kind of things we need to support. I mean, it's not like giving up any liberties or anything like that. I mean, a system like that wouldn't necessarily do that. But what it will do, it will help the government to bring certain services to you.
Yeah. There are benefits. I just would like to see how it's being applied in another society. You know, how it's working for them, if the citizens feel that it's too intrusive. It's good to get the perspectives. What are the disadvantages of a system like that?
Maybe we should allow people to call us.
I would love to hear people's views.
0081 or 466-5391. Let's hear
Are we returning to the matrix here? Is this an invisible dome? Is this too intrusive? Or you think it could work? Because right now, we don't have a solution with the things that's happening. A 2-year-old child is missing. And nobody knows if the child in the sea, in the forest, he kidnapped. We do not know.
I was hearing about one where a neighbor went by a next neighbor. A woman went by her neighbor. She locked the door. A 10-year child, somewhere in Arima, and a man with a blue hoodie came in and tried to take the child.
Oh yes, that's today self that happened, I believe.
So these things are, I mean,
you walking
real.
in people's house normal, so what do you want this child for? You ain't going to rob the place. What do you want a 10-year-old child for? So are we to be concerned about another security issue with people going missing and they're really being shipped out of the country or something?
On the streets when school over, walking home unsecured, all that kind of thing. But all those things are things that, I mean, we had to change our mindsets and try to be one. We definitely have to start thinking outside the box. Because we can't go into dealing with the situation with the same normal linear thinking that exists. We have to start, and we have to be willing to give up some things also. Right? Because I feel Trinidadians want magic. Right? I sometimes feel we want magic because we complain about crime, we complain about everything, but when the government tries to do something, it's problems. Right? So clearly we want magic. Right? The government and all feel timid, they feel limited as to what they could do because they're not getting certain support to be able to do it. Right? I don't know. And then the other thing is that they're afraid to do certain things because clearly the police service, we need to deal with the police service, how we recruit, how we train, all these things needs to be addressed. Yesterday we spoke about a new education system, but not an education system, an initiative in Chicago where they are creating alpha school and alpha learning, where they have children with no teachers in the school, and they have children being exposed to AI learning for 2 hours for the day, and then for the rest of the day they are in workshops. So the 2 hours, the AI learning will teach them basic arithmetic, math, science, languages, and that kind of thing.
Nobody in the school, not even a school administrator.
Well, without teachers.
No teachers, basically.
Without teachers in those sessions. And then, of course, they will have workshops on how to apply certain things, the application of knowledge and that kind of thing. And that, to me, is...
It's innovative.
It sounds like an innovative kind of learning system, but it will certainly put some teachers out of jobs.
Yeah.
And of course, teachers will now have to train and do other things. Probably even get into AI learning. So all these things are things that we need to look at very seriously, and we need to try to adopt, because the world is moving ahead while we are standing still. And we complain about basic things. We complain about, listen, we are complaining about things that, to me, is basic for solving. Still, while the world is moving ahead. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Matheson. Mr. Matheson, this country is playing catch up. There's so many things to be done in this country here. Can't do it in 5 years. Can't do it. And just recently, I read an article, a series with respect to, well, they dealt with the criminal justice system, the court system, it dealt with the prison. I mean, if you read that article, I think it's one of the dailies, proper research and whatnot, good research and data and whatnot, the person did a good job. In a bad way. You go back to the industrial court. I read that article.
With the 300
yes.
judgments.
Right.
That
and there are a lot of things to think about. We go back now, more recently, which I look at very atrocious behavior on behalf of members of parliament. Right? We have a lot of work to do in this country. And I remember sometime last week, I think I might have mentioned it on your talk, where in the Jamaican parliament, there was this member of the opposition, a female lady, a female. She went, while the speaker was on her feet, interfered with the mess.
My goodness.
And there was no end to it, because the speaker hurried her out of the parliament. There was a big uproar. Right? And what happened subsequently, the speaker made a statement, and she commented on the fact that the behavior she would not tolerate that kind of behavior in the parliament, and the impact or the effect upon the young people in the country. She was quite mindful of those things. She was minded that these things would impact on the youth, the mind, the way they behave. In Trinidad, they don't care. We are already in a horrible state. And if you look at the people how they behave in parliament, we talk about people who are at senior level of governance. So where are we going? This country in a mess. Total mess. And they have to lead by example. They have to be exemplars. So the fact remains is that they are dragging the flag, they're failing this country, and they must take note of it. Take serious note of it. When you see children not responding to authority, the speaker is the authority in the house. And if you don't want to abide by the direction of the speaker, it's the same way a child in school, in a class, when the teacher tell him sit down or probably stand up, and he decide, now listen, I'm going to defy authority, I'm going to challenge authority.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I mean, you have to look at these things. When you're on the street and a man, police talk to him, police is the authority, in terms of the law, enforcing the law, and you want to fight for the police. He tell you, look, listen, park on this side, and you believe that you man, and you in business with that, and I go park here. All these things, I'm saying that the people in Parliament must behave themselves. Behave themselves. It doesn't augur well for the young people in this country. You can't talk about this chain knocking down some alderman in Port of Spain. You want to challenge them, you want to correct them, but you're not doing the things that would lead them along a very positive path. You contributing to it because they look up to you. You have to lead by example. I have nothing to say. Let them go ahead. So I'm saying that this is basically what I'm saying here. We're in a serious mess here. I don't know. And I'm saying the task is hard, and it will take more than 5 years to take this country out of the morass that it finds itself. And one thing I want to say, if I don't take too much of your time, and coming back to this same crime business, I am saying that the people, the constituents, must in fact go to their representative and let them know the plights or the problems that they face, with respect they face, and that they want to have. They have to be active. You can't walk back home and people invading your house and believe that things going to happen, as we say, abracadabra. It won't happen like that. That is what your MP is there for. Go to your MP and let them. You have town meetings. Let him organize a meeting with the people in your area. And ensure that, let him know what you would like to have. You want to have a meeting with the port? Yes.
The home invasion legislation, the mischief upon which that was brought was the propensity of home invasion in Trinidad and Tobago, not just in all areas, right? And we're seeing it happening. It's getting more and more prevalent.
Yeah.
Right? Every day here now, 2 or 3 home invasions, serious ones, violent ones, right? And therefore, the government would have, something I would have praised the government for, that home invasion legislation, and that was happening long before they came into office.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Right? And one of what they premised, one of their campaign promise was to bring legislation to be able to deal with that, right? And they did that.
Yes.
But do you think that legislation was complete without the ability to access a firearm?
No, because what happened here is this: is that you put the law there, but you know from the outset that certain people, because you have people who would not be able to access a firearm for the varying reasons. And most times the people who would be unable, they come from a particular stratum of the society, the lower level. I'm talking about legal firearm because of the cost and other conditions set out in the bill as to who would be able to avail themselves of a firearm.
Well, we know the cost of a firearm. Firearm are really cheap, but when you make it extremely difficult to get it, by having to pay some bribe, $60,000 as I've been hearing, and then you had to come and pay a bribe. Now you had to come and pay for the firearm, which is an exorbitant amount also. But what are you saying to citizens who really want to protect themselves?
Well, this is why I am saying that when you put legislation, now we may comment on it, but when you put legislation in place, it's not cast in stone, and you have to review, because just like policy, you have to review the policy over time to see how it is working. And as we see, as the evidence, as time go along, we realize that there may be some weakness in the legislation itself, in that certain groups of or certain sector of the community or the society is not being well served by the legislation. So you need to come up with other things to protect those people, other measures. So you always have to be reviewing the legislation to see how it's working. You just don't make like put legislation and leave it there. Because the legislation.
What do you mean certain sector of the population may not be able to be served by legislation? Explain.
Well, what I'm saying here is this: is that you have the poorer class people, right? The people who have little means, the people with very little influence, because as you were saying, certain people could pay whatever it is and get whatever they want. The ordinary man in let's say in Diego Martin or in Bagatelle, because the home invasion, or probably the man in Londonville, he may be living, as I said, they may not be living in close proximity to each other, and therefore and some of them are not rich and not poor, and those are the people who, to a large extent, are being advantaged by the criminals, by those home I call them home invaders. So you have to look at that, and that is why I'm saying. And the people, when they went to Londonville,
So you're saying the cost might be prohibitive?
Yes, it might be prohibited in terms of accessing
the cost of access, because the firearm itself might be prohibitive. A firearm might be about less than 10 grand, but to actually
you think so?
To actually get a license for it is what is prohibitive.
Because you can't use the firearm without a license.
Exactly. So and then in some cases people are made to feel that they had to pay for it. They had to pay plenty money for them to get through it to the point.
Because what you rightly said, there was a gentleman that you brought on your program, I think about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When you had that morning program.
Right.
I think he's a firearm.
Right.
Right?
That is
and he spelled it out.
Yeah.
And the fact remains is that if you're talking about, you have to go through all kind of testing, or not just going and say, I want a firearm. Most of these people, they age 50 something, they have eye problems, they can't shoot, they're nervous, they this and that. Where they live, you have to have a place where you could secure your firearm and all. There's a lot of conditions which must be satisfied.
Right, but that being put that aside, because to me that is not people. If they had to go through them tests, they will do them thing.
I think they will do it, but they will do it, but
because I know a lot of people who would have gone through all of that already years ago.
Yes, but you'd have to, it's not a one-off, you know. It's not a one-off, you know.
Right?
You have to. I don't think it's a one-off. So even though you did it last year, I think you have to go back and have this thing done, you know, in terms of your fitness to
I don't think you understand where I'm going.
Let me hear you.
I'm saying there are persons who would have made the application and gone through those things years ago and never even got called for license.
Well, the police themselves have complained, and they were saying that a lot of people got licensed who friends and family and all kind of thing went on inside, and there are a lot of irregularities.
That messed with the process.
So what we're saying is, listen, I am on the street, I am on the ground. I hear what people say. You know, a lot of business people say that they have to pay plenty money to get a firearm.
Wow. Yes, that is common knowledge.
Wow.
That is common knowledge, and people tell you that.
So when we talk about the people who really need protection and the prohibitiveness of the cost of getting it, and I'm talking about the illegal cost of getting it, it's prohibitive for a lot of them.
Yeah, it's. So I agree with you, but the thing about it, they have to review that. Yes, they put the policy in place, which is the legislation. See how it is working. See whether how it's impacting on the population generally.
And my solution for that is to move that authority to grant firearm away from the police.
Yes, people suggested.
Right?
People had suggested
Set up
that you
a
have
special unit, or maybe civilians and experts,
a board or
fire
something, a
experts, a
board.
board or something, to be able to
Yeah.
deal with that. And I'm not saying that wouldn't get corrupt either, but
No.
at least you will reduce the layers of problems, of challenges to get to that point.
Yeah, I agree with you. Something has to be done, and you can't leave it to one man to determine who gets firearm and all that kind of
Exactly.
thing. And then you hear people standing off, certain people, junior people standing off on application and all that kind of thing. Oh, Trinidad is a mess, you know. Trinidad, I don't know.
Crazy place.
Yeah, it's a crazy place. It's not a normal place. Well,
So
that is, yeah.
So at the end of the day, we really have to understand that for us to get to the level of solving, certain issues, right? And we are joined by our third umpire, right?
Yes.
Mr. Janos is here with us also.
Yeah.
But for us to get to that point, we really have to look into tweaking a lot of other things that would allow for us to make life easy for the normal man, boy. Because that is one of the problems, you know. The normal man in society not seeing a way, a space for him to survive like everybody else.
Yeah, they have to think through this problem, this situation that we find ourselves in, generally. Thanks again.
Yeah? So thanks again. Mr. Janos,
yes, sir.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Yeah, you reached here rather late, boy.
Yes, sir.
But I know how it is. I know.
Out there with my cape. So it's interesting you say that. A businessman, I've been sitting with a businessman for the last couple of hours.
Mm.
And the gentleman's lament is that despite his best intentions, he has not had access to the kind of help and the kind of advice that would have saved him from making certain mistakes along the way. And I mean, definitely he saw his business crumble more than once, for want of correct guidance. So part of the issue is a financial literacy issue. And it is a serious problem when certain segments of this society learn financial literacy in the cradle literally, and others never learn it.
Oh boy. Okay.
Explain that.
Well, there are methods to build a relationship with the bank. There are ways to go about handling your money. There's a playbook for taking savings and leveraging savings for growth, etc. And in our country, on an annual basis, quite a few people become self-made. They carry themselves from working minimum wage gigs, working in the same government jobs, or not working at all, to running very successful businesses. You know, this morning I was all the way down in a place called Queenham. You know, and down in Queenham, there are quite a few people who have done well for themselves. As out of the way as Queenham may sound, you drive down inside Queenham and there are a lot of families that have put themselves in a good position. They work hard and they invest and they create wealth for themselves. The methods that you have to employ to grow that kind of wealth, I think those methods are not available mentally for certain segments of our
I think
society.
I know where you want to go, but let me take this call. Good evening, caller.
Hey, Kingsley, how you doing?
Good.
Kingsley, I enjoy listening to you. I really do. You know, that is the kind of, you're going to get a lot of viewers, by the way, and a lot of listeners, because I tune in now every night when you're on the air. But I wanted to tell you something about Sister Rennie, right?
About something about?
About Sister Rennie. This is Kingsley, right? Hello?
This is the Third Empire show.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got the wrong station. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks all the same. God bless you.
Yeah, you were saying?
Yeah. So we have, we talk about the normal citizen. And some of the normal citizens are becoming wealthy. Yeah? And some of the normal citizens are, the people who are well employed. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,000 dollars a month. Household income 25,000, household income 30,000, and they catching the tail. What's the difference?
Well, people average propensity to spend remains the same. If my average household income is $10,000, me and my wife, and your average household income is $50,000 because you and your wife, you will buy a $50,000. You will buy the shoe you might wear might be a Stacey Adams.
Yes.
I might wear a Bata Bullet.
Yes.
Right? So our average in propensity to spend would more or less be the same.
Yeah. Indeed.
You know? So the thing is, as you say, financial literacy.
Yes.
That is important because people need to know the value of money.
Correct.
And the extended value of money down the road and how to make it work for you.
Correct. But I'll tell you what else we have. So on one side we have.
So while if you and I working for, and check it out. I mean, it happens. So I might be working for $50,000 a month. You might be working for 6,000.
For five.
Right? But your value tell you that you are to wear a Jordan.
Yes.
And I will go in Rattan and I will buy a shoe for 100 and it will last me the same time as one in Jordan. And nobody noticed that the one I buy in Rattan is I bought it in Rattan because they think, hey, I working for X and therefore I go be wearing something expensive.
Difference in
right?
value systems is start.
So value system, you gotta start there.
And I will give you a prime example of it. There was a time where I was kind of now beginning to switch gears from being an employed person to a business owner. And I was spending some time down in Point Fortin with my mom, God rest her soul. And a night a young lady I was interested in at the time tell me meet me Grand Trace. And in the back of Grand Trace have a proper nightclub, partners. Proper big lighting, crowd, the works. And I went in this nightclub and young men liming and they spraying on White Oak. Yeah?
Okay.
And when they finish spray on the White Oak, they go outside and they jump in the Mercedes Benzes and the Hiluxes and all that kind of young fellas, 23, 24 years. Yeah? Now, it's only so much that you can pull from that, but I observe, because I know that young men in another social segment young men in another social segment will not be seen with anything less than a Johnny.
Okay.
Yeah?
Young men what?